Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Treasure Peter. If you're just meeting me for the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. On today's tutorial, I'll be making this beautiful A-line gown with cowl neck and a snatch waistline using the rope to tie behind, just like this. Do not watch the video to the end if it's something you're interested in, and please don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that whenever I drop other videos you'll be notified. Thank you. So guys, to make this gown, I'll be making use of 3 yards of this silk duchess fabric, and I'll also make use of the bias to pipe the sleeves opening. Let's go straight into the cutting, guys. In order to place this material, you need to place it with the width of the fabric, not the length. Remember, the length of this fabric is by 60, but this is the width, and the width is 3 yards. So I'm folding it with the width. That means I'm folding it into 4 with the width in this manner. The by 60 part is going to be folded into 2 and into 4. So just watch what I'm doing so you can get my explanation. So the reason why I'm folding it in this manner is because the length of my gown will be more than 60 inches. I wanted it to really flow, that's why, and I wanted it to be about 62 inches, and that is why I'm folding it in this manner. And another reason why I'm folding it this way is because I want to achieve the cowl neck using a particular method, which I'm going to show you as I proceed. So I'm cutting the front and the back together at once. That is why I'm folding it into 4. I have to pin it up first so that it won't sway and shift from the right position. You know, it's actually a silk fabric. So for the width of the fabric, I'm having about 15 inches. This is because if you fold 60 inches into 4, you're going to be having 15 inches. So 15 inches is actually okay for me to use for the down part of my A-line. So I'm actually okay with having that. The next thing I'll be doing is to take the full length of the gown. My original gown length is about 56 to 58 inches. But because I wanted it to be very long, I decided to take about 61 inches. And then I went ahead to mark my shoulder line, which is the starting line. From the starting line, I proceeded to measure my shoulder to my waistline at 15 inches. I drew the line across. I also measured my shoulder to my hip line at 25 inches and also drew the line across like so. From the shoulder line, I also went ahead to mark from my shoulder to my knee length, but I did not reach the actual knee length. I actually went 2 inches above the knee length. My shoulder to my knee length is about 38 inches, but I marked 36 inches instead, and then I extended the lines. On the shoulder line, I proceeded to measure my shoulder measurement divided by 2 at 7 inches, and then I took my neck measurement using a neck width of 3 inches and a neck depth of 1 inch, which is going to serve as the back neck. Then I went ahead to just curve the neck like this, and then on the shoulder line I came down with 1 inch for my shoulder slant and connected it back to the neckline. And then from the shoulder slant, I came down with my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5, and I marked what I had. Mine was 7 inches. I marked 7 inches and then draw out to form my chest line. At the chest line, I also proceeded to take my shoulder measurements divided by 2. I marked and connected it back to the shoulder line. From the shoulder slant to the chest line, I divided to get the midpoint. I marked the midpoint. I came in with half an inch and connected it upwards to meet the shoulder slants. And then on the chest line, I measured my bust circumference divided by 4. I marked what I had and connected it back to form the armhole. Then I added extra 2 inches for the seam allowance. At the waistline, I proceeded to measure my waist circumference divided by 4. I marked what I had and I added extra 2.5 inches seam allowance. And then I connected it to my bust measurement. So on the hip line, I also went ahead to measure my hip circumference divided by 4. I marked what I had and also added my allowance for seam of 2 inches and then connected it back to the waistline. On the knee line, I proceeded to also measure my hip circumference divided by 4. I marked it, and then instead of adding 2 inches allowance, I added just 1 inch allowance, and I'll be sewing it with that 1 inch allowance when I'm sewing. So the allowances I'm adding, note I'm going to be sewing it with 1 inch. The extra allowances are just for ease because this gown does not have a zip. So the next thing I went ahead to do was to connect from the knee line to the down part in this manner to form the A line, because the down part is not straight. Before cutting it, we're going to be tracing out the cowl neck. To do that, I proceeded to cut the same thing that I have here from the chest line to the upper part. I proceeded to trace it on the pattern paper to cut it, and then I went ahead to just pin it down at the chest line in order to secure it. So the next thing I did was I went ahead to take it upwards like this, and this is just to form the cowl neck for the front. So I proceeded to measure the width of my neck. So for the neck for the front, I wanted the width to be about 20 inches, which is about 10 inches on fold. So I made sure to have 10 inches from the beginning point to the shoulder point, and then after making sure that I had 10 inches, I went ahead to pin it down at that 10 inches mark, and then I went ahead to check the wideness between the chest line and the pattern paper, and I had about 6 inches. So it's actually very perfect for me. After that, I went ahead to just connect a straight line from my shoulder line to the end to form the front neck. So guys, that is it. At this point, I'll go ahead to cut it out, but while cutting, I'm going to be adding half inches allowance at the shoulder as well as the upper neck part of the front. So I'll first of all cut the front part first, then I'll remove one side of it and then proceed to cut the back part. So just watch the way I'm cutting it so you understand better. Like I said before, I added half inch to the neck part, and I'm going to be adding half inch to the shoulder side also, but the armhole part I won't be adding any allowance. And for the side seam, since I've added my allowances already, I'll just cut it directly where I marked. So guys, this is it. The front side is ready. I'll just go ahead to remove one of it, which is the inner side, and then I'll go ahead to use this upper side to cut the back part. So guys, at this point I will go ahead to cut out the back part, leaving half inch allowance at the shoulder for my joining allowance, but for the other side I made sure to cut everything the same. So this is it guys, the back side is ready as well as the front. I proceeded to cut the facing for the neck of the front as well as the back. For the front facing, I made sure to come down from the armhole with at least 3 inches while cutting the facing. Next thing we'll be cutting is the sleeve. So I went ahead to place it on fold, and I used a width of 12 inches. You can use more than that depending on how wide you want your sleeves to be. So for the length, I made use of 25 inches, adding additional 3 inches to my normal long sleeves length. So note, the 1 inch will go for the joining of the sleeves as well as the hemming of the down part, because I'll be using a bias to actually hem the down part. This means that I actually added extra 2 inches to my normal long sleeves length. So the next thing I did was I drew the line across for the starting line, and I came down with 4 inches as the bicep line, and then at the bicep measurement I went ahead to mark what I have when I take my round armhole divided by 2 and added extra 1 inch allowance for sewing. At the upper line I went in with 4 inches, and then at the 4 inches point I went ahead to mark the midpoint from the bicep measurement to the starting line, and then I used my free hand to just connect it from around 2 inches after the center line to that midpoint, and then down to the bicep measurement again. So just watch the way I'm connecting it. After that, I proceeded to connect it in a slant form to meet the end. So just go ahead to connect it using your straight ruler in a slant form to meet the end, just like this, and then I proceeded to cut it out. Finally, at the down part of the sleeves at this edge, I came up with 1 inch and then connected it back to the center line in this manner. So this is just all for the cutting of the sleeves. I'll go ahead to place it on another fabric to cut out the second part. So guys, it's now time for us to sew our gown. I proceeded to just place the facing on top of the gown, and I place it right sides facing each other, and I'll go ahead to join it with half an inch at the neck part for the front side. Do not join the shoulder area, just stop it at the neck part. So guys, here's what I have after joining it. At this point, you can go ahead to keep it well and iron it so it will look very neat. I had gone ahead to iron mine. I also proceeded to turn the facing of the back neck. I'll go ahead to join the back shoulder to the front shoulder. So I placed it right sides facing right sides, and I connected it using the facing to turn it in so it would look neat. So I'm joining it with half inch. I'll do the same thing to the other side and then show you guys what I have after joining it. So guys, this is it. See how neat it's looking so fine and so neat already. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to join the sleeves. So I'll go ahead to join the two sleeves together to the armhole like this. Make sure that you take note of your center, let it align. I'll do that to both sides of the sleeves and show you guys what I have. And then for the down part of the sleeves, I'm going to be using my bias to hem it down, to turn it down so it will look neat. So I'll do that off the camera and show you guys what I have. Here's what I have after attaching the sleeve. See how it's looking fine, and this is what I have after using my bias to hem the down part of the sleeves. So I'll go ahead to close the sides now. So at this point, we are going to attach the loops for the rope before closing the sides. I had gone ahead to cut the material that I'll be using for the loops. I'll go ahead to just sew it in to form the loops for the lacing. So I'll just sew it in and show you guys what I have. After sewing it, this was what I had. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to be using 4 inches for each of the loops. Yeah, I think 4 inches will be okay, because when I'm joining it, I will join it with 1 inch, and that means that I'm going to, when I fold it in, I'm going to be having 1 inch at the end of the day that will come out. So I went ahead to cut 4 inches into 4 places because I want to use 4 loops. I went ahead to measure my shoulder to waist measurement. It was already marked at the back side, so I just had to flip it over, and then I proceeded to just measure 1 inch below the waistline. I proceeded to fold in to form the loops, and then I went ahead to just fix it inward in this manner and pin it down. From the waistline, I also went up, but this time around with 2 inches. I marked what I had and also went ahead to fold in to form the loops and pin it down, just like I did to the other side. I'll do the same thing to the other side of my gown, and then I'll go ahead to take it to my machine to close the sides with 1 inch. So guys, if you've watched up to this point and this video was beneficial to you, please do well to hit that like button and also subscribe if you've not, and also turn on your notification bell so that whenever I drop subsequent videos you'll be notified. This is it after I was done closing the sides. So just make sure to close the sides. Then note at this point where our A line starts, at the knee line, you're going to just put in your scissors. This is to allow that place to relax and bring out the A line shape very well. So guys, we are almost done with this gown. I just had to flip it over to show you guys how it looks. This is the loops. See how it's looking very nice. It came out by 1 inch. I'll proceed to hem the down part of this gown. I did a double hemming, double folding for the hemming, and that is it guys. Then finally I'm going to be doing the rope. For this rope I used about 60 inches for the length of the rope. I'm just going to sew it out. So guys, here is how our gown looks, so beautiful and so well sewn. After I was done doing everything, I went ahead to also iron it. See how it's looking so neat and so nice. I had gone ahead to hem the down part, and I also proceeded to do the rope. And that is it. This is the end of this video. Thank you so much if you've watched up till the end. Please don't forget to subscribe if you've not, and also turn on your notification bell so that whenever I drop other videos you'll be notified. Thank you so much guys, and see you guys in my next video. Bye.